All right, so you're welcome back from that break. We go straight into the discussions for tonight. To my immediate right is our very own Henry Asare J. Usual, do I say suspect? Metro TV, of course. When you talk about finance and business, you will always hear of him. On Metro TV, he's the Chief Executive Officer of Tent Maker Ghana. Now, America is added. So, Tent Maker Ghana and Tent Maker America. And also the CEO of Prime to Prime Ideas. Then we have I.K. Edusei, my very good friend, who is also first time, of course, on Metro TV here, but not first time on TV, but we are going to have him a lot of times. He's also the author of Financial Skills for Business Success, How to Start Small. Let me quickly ask him, you've written a book.
That's correct.
How to Start Small.
That's correct.
How do we start small? What's the book about? The book is, of course, obviously on financial skills for business success. We are going to talk about entrepreneurship in this day and age, in this current economy with the youth, how we would be able to build ourselves. But what's basically the book about?
Yeah, the book is about demystifying all the myth around entrepreneurship. You know, people want to genuinely start a business. There are a whole lot of graduates who every year they come out of school wanting to either have a formal employment or start their own businesses. But how do they do it? You know, they have that kind of challenge. You have your colleague tell you you need 100,000 CD to start a business. You need 1 million CDs to start a business. You know, you start a business today, you don't know what will happen tomorrow. It may collapse, you see. So a whole lot of myth around the subject of entrepreneurship. And this book, How to Start Small, is looking at how to demystify all these myths around the subject of entrepreneurship so that everyone can start a business.
You don't believe that you need 100,000 to start a business?
Of course.
You don't believe that when you start a business it can collapse?
Of course not.
And is that what the book is capturing?
You know, to everything, you have to look at the negative and the positive sides, you know. Entrepreneurship is not left out. You can start a business with as little as next to nothing. You know, you can start with even 5 Ghana cedis. You can start with 500.
To sell pure water?
No, but you've started your business. Starting a business is a trajectory. You don't start a business by just saying, I'm starting a business today and the business would move. No, you can have a briefcase business. You can have a business idea and incubate it and start. Make sure you put money, you put money into your financial nest to grow that business idea to the point that you are ready to launch. You see, so all these kind of processes are part of starting a business.
So yes, I'm going to come back to you for us to go into the details of that. Yeah. So, but of course, you mentioned incubation, obviously about entrepreneurship, all about starting the business, incubating and growing it. I know Tent Maker Ghana, that's what you are into. Yeah. Building small businesses and growing them, helping people start their small businesses. For the purposes of the people that are watching, first of all, what exactly do you do? How do you help people to start small businesses? What kind of businesses do they start? 2019, what are the businesses that we should be looking at? First of all, what do you do, Tent Maker?
All right, so we do 3 things basically. We do business incubation, that is turning an idea into a business. And then we have a co-working space where startups are able to come and then co-work with other people. It's a business environment, so you can rent an office, you can rent a space and then work there. And also we do business acceleration. So you started a business, how do you scale it up? How do you grow it from a small business into a world-class business? So these are the basic things we do.
Can you give us a practical example of a business that has started that you have mentored to a certain level so far? Where are they now? How are they doing on the market?
Well, so for the purpose of this discussion, I don't want to mention
names. Right. You can give.
But we have trained more than 200 businesses just last year under NEIP, under our own programs. Some of them we call Capture Scale. We run about 3 or 4 programs where the idea basically is that, you know, to start a business, you first have to have an idea. And usually the problem is idea. There's a great idea and there's a great business idea. They are 2 different things. Great ideas start from people having the desire and feeling that there's a certain solution I can bring on board without checking whether customers want to have it. And I always say that when people sit in their boardrooms and make decisions for customers out there, they always have problems, you know, because the business is for the people out there. You must first check from them how they even want you to even package it. And that is one of the reasons why most businesses in Africa don't really grow. Because once I have an idea, I think I want to sell pure water because I believe that people would buy, because I think people get thirsty. Now, the fact that people get thirsty doesn't mean they'll just buy anything at all. All right, because there should be a demand-driven idea. So basically what we do is to help you validate that idea to make sure that it is viable enough, it is economic viable. It's something that people will put their money, their hand in their pocket, and then want to pay for it. And then, so we run you through that validation, mentor you, train you to be able to build the structures. We will go into the banking sector. But one of the things that the challenges is that businesses are not basically structured from the beginning before they are run. Mostly when people start business and they are able to earn something, they just allow it to run, believing that, well, I have some money and I can just run it.
Do you buy into that? Is it just about getting the idea, first of all, because there are a number of people who have ideas, of course, young graduates who have come out, vibrant, young, having their own ideas, wanting to venture into the business space, or you need to have a structure of growing the business before you want to start at all, or you can just start and then learn along the way. There are people who have learned, gone down, come back, and are bigger.
Yeah, that's true. You know, the entrepreneurship journey, you don't lose in this journey. You know, it's a win-win-win-win throughout, because when you go and you stumble and you fall, it's part of the learning process. You see, Thomas Edison, you know, was able to fail so many times. And he didn't count any of those failures as, you know, a waste. It was part of the brand that he was building. It was part of the business that he was setting up. You see, so once you set up a business, you should be able to believe in your idea. That is the first point of call. Once you believe in your idea, you don't necessarily need a formal structure to start your business. You can test your idea. You know, for example, I want to maybe start a haircut business, maybe start a barbering shop.
I can see you love barbers with the way you have your haircut.
Of course, you know, they do.
Do you have a barbering shop anyway?
I don't own one. I don't own one. Just that I just like their craft and the way they do that. You see, once you want to start a business like that, you want to know the niche that you are getting into, you know, because there are a whole lot of barbers in the country and also outside. But
that's a bit of a research there, trying to know the niche, the kind of market. That now brings in the structure. So obviously you are still having a form of a structure in how to go into that particular market.
You see, a whole lot of people feel that you need to have a business plan. You know, write down a business plan. A business plan is something that you need at a point in time in your business, but you don't need to start a business with a business plan. You know, a whole lot of people have that business plan phobia, that I have to write about 10 pages of business plan before I can start a business, and because I cannot even write a page, I won't start it. No, you don't need that. You see, so with this idea that you have, you sit down and you try and test the idea in your mind and want to find the niche that you are going to occupy. You know, which kind of percentage of the market do you think you can start with? You see, you have to think about all of these things in your mind. Then you can start. For example, I need a machine, a barbering machine to work with. Okay, I happen to, you know, be frequenting a certain barbering shop, so I can start by maybe doing some internship there, with the idea that tomorrow you are going to start your business. How much is this machine going to cost me if I want to purchase one? You know, how do you go about, you know, attending to customers? You look at all of these things. So within about 6 months, you can, you know, gradually save your 5 CDs, which you may think is not necessary. You'll be able to accumulate this money to probably about 500 CDs.
That's a form you are doing there. You're training people more like an internship and getting them to understand the structures of their business and being able to venture into it.
Certainly, but you know, Kwesi, when you want to start a business, and like I mentioned, there's a great idea. You can say that I want to start a barbering shop. Now, question is, even the location you want to start a barbering shop, how many people do you think will use your services? And like I said, a great business idea is customer driven. A great idea is entrepreneur driven. So I could feel that this area, I want to set up, let's say, a pub. Question is, will people patronize it? Is it because I saw people having the same thing, so I believe that people will patronize it? Right. Now, I've always said that there are three actors to every business. Usually, the challenge is that people want to accommodate all these three areas. There's the entrepreneur who have the idea, there's the financier who brings the money, and there's the manager
who is obviously looking for a 10-page.
Not necessarily. I mean, lately people don't really take, because people don't have time to read. And that's why we have this.
But we still have that
pitching.
challenge. This question goes to both of you. We still have that challenge in this country, in this economy, here and now, with the kind of system that we are in now. People don't want to just throw the money out or away like that. And so you have a lot of young graduates who are coming up, like I said, with lots of ideas, with lots of very brilliant ones. People who are even working for companies and want to start something small and grow it so that some point in time they may be able to also employ people and pay them.
Yes.
We are not being able to do that because of the system. How do we overcome these challenges? Of course, there are a number of challenges: having the idea, getting the finance, competing with the existing brands and all of that. Let me start that one with you, and I'll come to Mr. Dusay.
All right. So first of all, it is not entirely the system. We all recognize that the economy that we have is a growing one when it comes to entrepreneurship. But the point is that if you want to put your money into a business, you must understand it. I mean, the fact that somebody come to you and say that I'm selling something doesn't mean you have to put money to the thing. You may have to first of all analyze. Is there a market for it? How do I make back my money? I cannot just look at you because I think you're beautiful, you're handsome, I can put my money into your business. No. If I put my money in the business, I must understand the model you are running. What is your revenue model? You yourself, do you even understand the market? Do you think in the next 5 years the business will still be sustainable? Do you think the business can grow? Right? And so mostly investors put money into entrepreneurs, into the people. So if you come and stand in front of me and then you can't even substantiate your own model. You can't tell me who you will need, who are the partners, what the size of the market is. Then you can't convince me to put my money in there. That's a risk, all right? Every investor is looking at minimizing risk and maximizing returns. So I can't put my money in a business just because I feel somebody has a brilliant idea. Like I mentioned, they are great ideas and they are great business ideas. They are not the same. Right? And you must, for you to have a great business idea, you must be able to tell me the value of that business, where you think it's going to go to, how much rate, who are your competitors, right? Assuming, can you imagine if somebody set up a school and said that I'm going to make the senior high school, right, free because I think I have a company, and government set up something like this, and you put your money in that business, what is going to happen, right?
So let me come to you, Mr. Dusay. You don't believe that you need to have some amount of money or all of the documents, but there are still systemic challenges. Competition for young people who want to grow their businesses or who want to start their businesses. You cited an example of getting an internship. Even today, getting a company to do that internship with is not a small challenge to think of. Getting a place or somebody who would say, okay, you are not going to pay anything to me. You know that there are people, hairdressers and all of those people that if you have to go and do the internship with, you have to pay about 200 Ghana cedis or so to begin with. So there are challenges in the system. How do you overcome these challenges as an individual?
You know, I started by saying that entrepreneurship is basically about having an idea and believing in the idea. Once you believe in your idea, you know, nothing can stop you. What is going to stop you? You know, all these questions about what ifs and what nots and what would be. You
don't believe in the questions. You don't believe in the negative part before you
not
get
at all. Once you believe in your idea, you are ready to stand the tides as they come. You see it. And, you know, this book, How to Start Small, is trying to take out all these kind of myths about starting a business. Business is not about, first and foremost, the structure. The structure happens along the way. You know, I can mention a whole lot of, you know, top entrepreneurs who have made multi-millionaires who didn't start with any structure. One is Sam Walton. Sam Walton didn't even know anything about basic accounting. But at one point in time, he was the richest man in America. He owns Walmart. He's dead and gone, but the conglomerate is still available to date. He didn't start with any formal structure. He started with a nickel and dime store, where the wife at one point in time confessed that she goes to the store and just take out anything that she wants without even accounting for it. So when you look at a business like that, you would think that this business is bound to fail because, you know, someone just walk in there and pick out anything, take it home and use it. You know, it doesn't have any formal structure, but they believed in their idea, you understand? So along the way, once they are having some kind of profits coming in, you know, you'll be having some help. You know, bringing some accounting people to come and help you to check your books and put everything right and putting away some of the bad habits and going on with the good ones. You understand?
Before I come to you, government has been putting up a lot of initiatives. We have the National Innovation Entrepreneurship Program. We have a lot of other initiatives that are coming up, private sector development and all of that. Do you think this is an initiative, government's support or nation's support to young and budding entrepreneurs that are coming up? Is there that drive, political drive, to support young people who create their own businesses? Start businesses small. You know,
there's strict dichotomy between politics and business. You may want to look at it as not two good friends, because when you start business with politics, you may have some problems. But politics is about winning the next elections. And I think that when politicians want to put any kind of money into youth businesses, they want to be, they want to have that appeal so that the next time they are going to have, your votes, you understand? So,
and you don't believe in the policy direction of the government? It's still based on votes?
For Ghana, we haven't really had any concrete youth policy on entrepreneurship. Though we have a youth policy, but how many young people even have had a glance of it?
Yeah, so all the politicians that are watching us tonight, there is a strong call for a policy direction on entrepreneurship.
I'm talking about, we have a national youth policy document.
I know we have a national youth policy document.
And
with the introduction of the NEIP.
I know. And within, I'm just...
You are working with them, so I'm going to come to you.
I'm just talking about the specifics, how practical this whole thing is. There is different existing in the book, and it's different actually on the ground. Because, with my work, Africa Business Network, we work with a whole lot of young entrepreneurs and, also startups. And people who just walk out from the university and come to us and say we want to start our own businesses don't know about the National Youth Policy document. Neither do they know about the entrepreneurship version of it. You see it. And where do they even start from? And who is ready to even listen to them and all of that? We have, a country in which about more than 50% are young people. And I don't know whether the government is ready and willing and able and even accessible enough to every young person who wants to start a business. So one thing I want to actually emphasize on with this subject of government and entrepreneurship is that you want to look at government as someone who probably along the way would be able to help. But you shouldn't look at the government as someone
driving the policy.
Who would help you to start your business.
No, we're almost out of time, but let me pick you specifically on that, on this same point, and then we can run out of here. Unfortunately, we are not able to do the banking sector as announced. But once we have you are in Ghana for at least for the next 2 or 3 months, we will still be able to get you. So let me have you on that particular point.
There are a lot of policy that are being developed, and I can tell you that, for instance, there's a movement called I for Policy, Innovation for Policy. Sometime last year, I was in Rwanda, and I spoke about the NEIP trying to train about 7,000 Ghanaians in Ghana. I know that we drafted a policy, and I can tell you that sometime next month, we're meeting the Ministry of Business Development just on the policy. Now, what is so practical about the government saying that we are putting 7,000 young people with ideas across the country and train them and give them funding? What's practical about that? It's quite practical. And you see, you need policy direction in entrepreneurship. See, today, we all saw that the government says we're giving Kantanka 10 years tax holiday.
Yes.
Now, I run my business. If let's say AMA come to me whilst I've not even been able to sustain my business and say, I'm going to take rates, right? And the government cannot give me a startup, some holiday to be able to, as a Ghanaian, then it is difficult to operate within the system, right? So policy is key in driving entrepreneurship in every economy.
But how they have organized it, according to Mr. Edu, is that it has always been based on motivation for votes, political votes.
No, but the point is that, well, of course, you need to be able to say that. You know, this is I mean, of course, so there's always a political angle. But the policy angle is what we're talking about.
It should be independent of votes, but you are interested in the policy angle.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, but the book, Starting Small and Making It Big, the Financial Skills for Business Success Entrepreneurship Handbook by IK Edusei, is going to be launched in the month of March. I'm sure we would have him back. When in March?
Yeah, it's happening on the 6th of March. It's a holiday.
Of course, 6th of March is March past day. Yeah. So everybody will make it a point to be there.
And University of Ghana is the venue.
Right, at the University of Ghana. Yeah. Thank you very much, IK Edusei, and our very own man, Henry Asare Ejei, the Chief Executive Officer of Tent Maker GH and America. My name is Kwesi Efrie.